What is going on, everyone? Hope everyone's doing great. And I really hope that you had a much better week 3 than I did in my fantasy team. Can I please get an F in the chat for me losing Joe Burrow last week? And then on top of that, we're losing Mike Evans and James Conner as of yesterday. Well, I'm recording this Monday. So, yes, as of Sunday, we lost Mike Evans, James Conner. And if you guys have been following me, you guys know that in my Dynasty League, I made a trade of George Pickens and Cedric Tillman to acquire James Conner. And in one day, James Conner got carted off. He's out for the season. And CeeDee Lamb goes down with an injury. So I clearly lost that year, but the show must go on. There's also been a couple of other injuries as well. We also had Terry McLaurin. He goes down with a quad injury. Najee Harris looks to have ruptured his Achilles, so he's probably done for the season. Mario Hampton is going to be a must-start candidate in my not-so-pro opinion. But we are here for the waiver wires. So hopefully you guys are still hitting up the waiver wires that you should be. It's barely week 4. So waiver wires are still pretty much gold here. And there's one guy out there in 40% of leagues, and hopefully you can get him, but we're going to get to him later on. We always start off with quarterbacks here. But before we get into it, I do want to say, if you have any questions, please leave it down in the comment section below. We'll get to every single question that you guys will ask. Or you could join our Discord, which the link is in the bio. Or I'll do you one even better. We are going to be live tonight on YouTube as well as TikTok. So find us, NSP Football Talk. We got you guys. So quarterbacks, moving on. Quarterbacks, number 1, we're going to talk about Sam Darnold. Yeah, I know. It's not, I don't want to say it's not exciting, but it kind of is, right? The team's not bad, and Sam Darnold was limited in the game because it was just a blowout. After week 1 against the Niners, where he totally shit the bed, this guy's been dropping some major points for fantasy football. So if you are in desperate need, if you're like me and you had Joe Burrow and Browning's not doing it, right, and you don't have those other guys, then this is a guy who's worth a stash, and he should have a pretty decent week 4 fantasy football point wise. So yeah, if Sam Darnold's out there, you need to stream a quarterback. By all means, Sam Darnold is a great pick for this upcoming week. After that, let's talk former Seahawk Geno Smith. Yeah, I know, week 2, Geno Smith, 3 interceptions, less than 10 points, horrible. Week 1, week 2, there's a lot to look out for that. And then now that we can clearly see that the run game is not all there, I think they're going to heavily rely on the pass. So I do believe that Geno Smith could be a decent streaming option if you're in absolute need to stream a quarterback. I'm not saying to go pick him up to put him in your starting lineup over someone like Kyler Murray, over someone like Dak Prescott. I'm just saying to grab him if you absolutely need him. Okay, that's it for quarterbacks. We're going to move on to running backs. And the guy who should be on top of everyone's priority list, if he is available, that is Trey Benson. Trey Benson from the Arizona Cardinals. As we said before, James Conner goes down with an injury, gets carted off the field. He's done for the season. And I really hope he's not done for his career. I think he still has some years left, but it looked bad. So, yeah, James Conner's out. Trey Benson is going to be the guy. I know we saw a little bit of DeMarcado go in, but he did not show much on the field. So, Trey Benson is going to be the absolute workhorse in that backfield. I'll be super excited if you have him already stashed up. If you listened to us last week, we said pick him up last week. But he's out there available in 40% of leagues on the Sleeper app, and then as well as 46% of leagues in the ESPN app. So go check if he's available. If he is, snag him. Number 1 priority pick. All right, so after Trey Benson, it's kind of scarce. So what we are really going to be doing is looking for premium handcuffs. Now, the first guy I want to talk about is Tyler Algier from the Atlanta Falcons. Yes, he is the backup of Bijan Robinson, and Bijan Robinson's still the guy. He doesn't seem to be slowing down, but this is a premium handcuff guy just in case something does happen to Bijan. This guy's going to have the total workload, so you're going to want to have him stashed away if you can. So after Tyler, we have a very interesting fella in Chris Rodriguez. Chris Rodriguez, Washington Commanders. I had to remember that. Washington Commanders, not the football team, not the Redskins. Washington Commanders. he's in a rotational backfield this past week. Everyone thought that Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt was going to be the main guy, which I thought he was. I have him in every single league. I stashed him in every single league. So I was super excited about this upcoming week, and that clearly was not the case. Chris actually led the backfield with 11 carries, while Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt had 8. Jerry McNichols, I believe, only had 2 back there, but it was a rotational backfield. Each got about a 32% snap share, which is not so great. I do believe that the numbers are deceiving just a little bit. When you really look at it, I think this is a true test to see who's going to take a lead in that backfield and become the guy, right? I still think it's going to be Ja'Cory, but only time can tell. Chris Rodriguez looked okay. But Ja'Cory has a lot of potential. I really hope he's the guy. And I do feel like it's going to sway one way or another. But just in case it does go towards Chris Rodriguez, you're going to want to have him stashed if you have an extra roster spot. That's all I got for running backs. So let's go ahead and move along to wide receivers. Number 1 wide receiver that we're going to talk about is a guy that we talked about last week, Alec Eomanor from the Tennessee Titans. Yes, I know there's Calvin Ridley. He's really not getting the ball. He's Ridley not getting the ball. You see that? But Alec is coming off a back-to-back touchdown game, which is huge. He is out there for over 70% of the snap share. He's getting involved in that offense, and that offense will be passing quite a bit. So I like Alec, and he's kind of trending in the right direction, right? Didn't have the best game last week, but he was still out there on the field. And like I said, the only way he could go is up. So I like Alec. I would have him rostered. I already have him rostered in multiple leagues just because we talked about him last week. But if you're in need of a wide receiver and you try to throw a Hail Mary, this is the guy to go pick up. After Alec, we're going to talk about Darnell Mooney. Darnell Mooney, no one really talked about this past week, but he, kind of snuck away with 11 targets. Yeah, that's a lot. I do believe Drake London's still the guy. And yes, I know the Atlanta Falcons kind of got demolished, right? It was a horrible game. We saw Kirko Cousins come back in and kind of, do his thing. So hopefully, I don't want to say hopefully, I don't want anyone to lose their job, but Michael Penix has not been performing all that well. So if they do move along with Kirk Cousins, which I don't think they will right away, but that is going to be a huge upside to the wide receivers out there since he already has a connection with Darnell Mooney, Drake London. So Darnell Mooney, if he's out there, if the trend continues where he's getting this amount of target share, then he has to be rostered on your lineup. That's all I got for wide receivers. We're going to move along to tight ends, the position that everyone loves because it's a position that underperforms every single year. Unless you listen to us and you get Trey McBride as your first tight end. But the first tight end we're going to talk about Hunter Henry. He had a great week 1, and then week 2 he kind of swerved us right. He didn't do hot at all, and then now week 3 he just totally killed it. I don't know what this offense is going to look like. I don't know what Drake May is going to do, but what I do know is that Drake May absolutely hates his wide receivers, right? So the wide receiver game, I think is so spread out. I think it's so spread thin that a lot of the targets are going to funnel through Hunter Henry first. So I like Hunter Henry moving forward. He's not a guy that you could just like plug and play. I'm going to start him and be confident. I think it's going to be a situational start depending on the defense that they're going up against. But Hunter Henry is definitely a good guy to have. He's one of the higher end tight ends. I don't want to say higher end tight ends, but he's one of the better tight ends that you could get off the waivers. After Hunter Henry, we got Chig Okonkwo. Chig Okonkwo, man, he made it. He made it, right? So obviously this guy, he is getting involved in the offense as well. I know we talked about Alec earlier, but Chig, he is getting some targets. He was second in targets this past week, if I'm not mistaken. And the weeks prior to that, he was getting a consistent share on that offense. So why not, right? If this guy is getting involved and his snap count is going up and up, then why not give the guy a chance? So Chig is definitely a good guy to go out and stash if he's available. That's all I got for you guys today. We are going to hit up some defenses as we always do towards the end of the video. So if you're like me, you stream defenses every single week to get the most points that you possibly can week to week, depending on matchup. So the first defense that we're going to be picking up here are the Houston Texans going up against the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee Titans are still trying to figure themselves out. Offensively, Texans don't have a bad defense. I feel like they could get to the quarterback a few times. So Texans will definitely get some good points there. After that, we got the Bills going up against the Saints. They are at the Bills, and come on, the Saints offense ain't that great. Let's just be fair. Look what the Seattle Seahawks just did to the Saints offense. If you had the Seattle Seahawks, if you streamed with us last week and you picked up the Seattle Seahawks this upcoming week, congratulations. You dropped a 20 burger on whoever you're going up against. After the Bills, let's talk about the Detroit Lions. They're going after the Cleveland Browns, but at the Lions, I'm not convinced that the Browns are back or the Browns are. I'm not convinced that the Browns are good, right? I don't know. That was a weird game last week against the Packers. I'm not falling for it. I still think the Browns have one of the worst offenses in the league. I want to go with the Detroit Lions, hoping they could apply a lot of pressure to the Browns offense and get to the quarterback. After the Lions, we're going to talk about the Denver Broncos at home going up against the Cincinnati Bengals. We saw how abysmal the Bengals were last week, so why not start the Broncos, who are known to be tough on the defense? The Cincinnati Bengals are trying to figure themselves out. You should go out and try to buy low on Jamar Chase if you can, but the Broncos defense should be a solid stream this upcoming week. That's all I got for you guys today. As we always say, if you have any questions, please leave it down in the comment section below. Join our Discord. The link is in the bio. Or join us live tonight. We're going to answer every single question tonight here on YouTube as well as TikTok. So hopefully we can see you guys on the live stream tonight.